Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will continue with the sixth part of the series. How does money and our global economic cycle work? It starts right after the intro. Stay tuned.
Insights for the informed investor.
The way to financial freedom. You will probably have heard of the financial one. Many people live this dream and not without reason. If you really don't want to be tied to a certain place anymore and want to live the life that makes you truly happy, there is usually no way around financial freedom. First of all, financial freedom can be different for each person. For example, one person simply wants to earn USD 2,000 per month passively, while another person wants to have $1 million USD in their account. Each person defines the feeling of freedom differently, and accordingly it depends on the individual to what extent they define their financial freedom. However, some things can be ruled out from the outset. For example, financial freedom does not mean that you are financially dependent on another person. Take the following example. You are in an employment relationship. No matter how much money you earn, you are in a relationship of dependency. This is simply because you are now dependent on your employer, and you are reliant on the salary they pay you every day. In addition to this dependency, you can also be dependent on the state. If you receive social benefits, for example, then you build up a dependency on the state. In addition to being dependent on the state, you can also become financially dependent on your partner. Why is such dependency dangerous? If you want to find the answer to this question, you don't really need to look far. Ask yourself what you would do if this source of income were to disappear. What measures could you take to really get back on solid ground? As a rule, you have no other sources of income and may even have to go to the job center. If you are employed on a permanent contract, it is generally assumed that you can stay in your job. But who can actually guarantee that you will still be able to fill the position in your company next month? A company can go bankrupt in the blink of an eye without employees noticing. In addition, there are always job cuts, so it is well worth living financially free. To minimize the risk associated with financial dependency, you should make sure that you take your finances into your own hands. In Germany, it is becoming increasingly common for people to abdicate their responsibility. They hand over their responsibility and don't know how to behave in a situation where they have to take care of their own success. So, if you want to minimize this risk of complete dependency, you should take back responsibility for your own income. Take control of your finances and make sure that you, and not someone else, take care of your income. But how exactly do you do this? In principle, there are countless ways to achieve financial freedom. The internet has not only created a mass medium, it has also created many new business opportunities. You can, of course, take advantage of these business opportunities. It depends on you whether you can take the risk at the beginning or not. At the end of the day, it always depends on your own psyche whether you can cope with certain situations or not. If you learn over time how to control your psyche, you can also live financially free and independent. There are 3 different ways in which you can live financially free. The first option is to build up a passive income stream. What does this mean? And what characterizes such an income? Everyone wants to earn money, but earning money alone is not enough. You need to know how to earn money in the right way. You should not be paid for your time, but for the value you create. So you want to earn as much money as possible with as little effort as possible. If you are pursuing this goal, then the magic word is passive income. This term is characterized by the fact that you can earn money without having to put in a lot of effort. An example can show you how the whole thing works. Let's assume that you are a freelance trainer. She is paid per hour in a fitness studio. She doesn't get paid if she doesn't work with the client. That makes sense. So she will hardly ever succeed in building up a large income. However, if this trainer were to decide to make YouTube videos, the whole situation would change. In this case, she would earn her money by making videos and having them viewed by visitors. This would result in her receiving payment without actually being present. How does that work? It's simple. She has set up a system with which she can always earn money. Platforms such as YouTube or Instagram are always online. So it's no problem at all to earn money via these platforms 24 hours a day. The most profitable thing about her new business is that she can scale it up as much as she wants. There is no limit that specifies the maximum limit that can be reached. On the contrary, the business can be scaled up immeasurably. In this case, many people will usually say that the risk is far too high. But let's assume that you are absent from work for a month due to illness. What would that lead to? Quite simply, you might no longer be able to do your actual job. You would have to cut back or leave the company. You no longer have this risk if you become self-employed and ensure that you build up your own income. This is one way to achieve financial freedom. The next option is that you can save money. Many will probably frown at this point, and understandably so. With the low interest rates on offer these days, you might think that saving is not worth it. However, there are other ways to save money besides call money and fixed-term deposit accounts. Albert Einstein already pointed out the enormous effect of compound interest. Accordingly, you should not underestimate how easily you can build up a fortune with saved money. The risk is low if you choose the right strategy. However, you should not misunderstand saving money. Many people assume that you have saved money if you have bought something on sale. Let's take the following example. You buy a shoe for 150 USD in the sale, which would normally have cost 200 USD. In the end, however, you have spent 150 USD. If you had saved this 150 USD, this money would be reflected in your assets over time. The third way to effectively increase your money is to invest rationally. What does that mean? Ultimately, you have to invest your money so that it multiplies. You can work for money, but that is not as efficient. However, if you make your money work for you, it is more than efficient. Pick the sensible investment strategies and combine them with each other. Ask yourself the following question for every expenditure you want to make. If you buy a car, for example, will it earn you interest? The answer to this question will most likely be no, which is understandable. If you buy real estate, it can certainly earn you interest. Of course, the initial investment is much higher with real estate, but ultimately it's always about the return you can achieve. The forms of investment that exist, and how you can use them to your advantage, will be explained in detail later in the book. Use knowledge and increase income. How do you market yourself properly these days? We have now arrived in an age where knowledge is worth more than anything else. If you have the right employees in your company, it can grow very quickly. Accordingly, you can also offer your knowledge in the form of a service. How can this be done in concrete terms? Quite simply, assume that you have acquired a certain IT skill. You can write complex programs in a programming language, execute them, and define conclusions based on them. This skill can be marketed very quickly. You could now take your acquired knowledge and offer it to other companies and service providers. They benefit from the fact that you may receive a new program or software that you can use directly in your company. Now you have your skill and can put it to use. Of course, this should be done on a self-employed basis, as you want to remain financially independent. Accordingly, you should think about which platforms you will use to market your skill right from the start. Have you heard of digital info products? Many people use digital info products to market a particular skill or set of knowledge. Digital info products are very versatile and can be used just about anywhere. However, you should pay attention to the format in which you offer your info products. There are numerous variants that you can use. The most common format is probably videos, which you simply watch and explain the entire content there. This is a very simple and effective way to use digital info products. In addition to digital info products, you can also write down your own knowledge in an ebook. Write your own ebook in which you bundle all your knowledge. You can sell this knowledge to other people for a very low price. While they are happy about the additional knowledge they can acquire, you have the advantage of being able to enjoy an additional income stream. When marketing your own knowledge, however, you should pay attention to fundamental aspects. It is important that you make sure that your knowledge also offers the user added value. As a rule, you need to be an expert in order to impart knowledge to users. If you have this expert position, then you have become very knowledgeable in a particular subject area. This will help you to market your own knowledge. However, you should also make sure that your content is always up to date. Nowadays, all the knowledge on the planet doubles every 3 years. This also means that you need to continuously educate yourself. If you want to market your knowledge, you simply cannot lose your position as an expert in a particular field. This point determines whether or not you can generate an income with your knowledge in the long term. It is relatively easy to launch a digital info product on the market. There are numerous providers who can help you realize your dream. However, if you lack the basic skills, then it becomes difficult. You need to fulfill the requirement of standing out from the crowd in one particular thing. Then you can effectively bring exactly this skill to numerous users on the internet. Active or passive income. The difference between active and passive income has already been briefly described in the introduction to this chapter. In this subchapter, the explicit advantages and disadvantages of both types of income will be explained. The advantages of passive income are obvious. It allows you to take care of your retirement provision yourself. It can no longer be denied that there will be a gap in your pension cover. It therefore makes sense to build up a passive income at an early stage. The higher the interest on your income, the better it is for your pension. You no longer need to restrict your standard of living and can ensure that you have built up a stable income stream for your pension within a very short time. The next point is one of the most decisive. You have more free time and flexibility. You often hear people say that work eats up all their time. This is perfectly understandable, which is why it can be useful to have a passive income stream. You can work less and sometimes even stop working altogether. In addition, you no longer use your manpower to realize other projects. You use your manpower exclusively to realize your dreams and goals. In addition to free time and flexibility, the focus is on scalability. Why is that? Take your salary, for example. Take a close look at it and ask yourself whether you can really scale your salary. As a rule, you will answer no to this question. This is the major disadvantage of an active income. With a passive income, things look a little different. First of all, you decouple the working time from the income itself. Passive sources of income require a lot of work at the beginning, but this effort levels off over time. That's why you shouldn't let it get you down at the beginning if you have to do more work. Keep working, and your investment will pay off over time. These are the advantages of passive income. It is not so easy to find disadvantages for passive income. However, a few things can be identified. For example, it can be said that social acceptance is not so good. If you imagine the image of society, you will quickly realize this. Society assumes that you should already be thinking about a permanent position in your mid-20s. However, permanent employment does not make you independent. But if you tell your friends and family that you want to start something at a young age, the result will be that your family members will think you're crazy and would prefer to have nothing more to do with you. Furthermore, you may even be labeled as lazy and antisocial. The reason for this is that society believes that building up a passive income stream does not involve work. Another disadvantage could be work-life balance. Many people do not want to give up their job immediately when they become self-employed. The employer must therefore agree to you building up a passive income stream. It should also be ensured that you are not overworked. If your job does not suffer as a result of your entrepreneurial endeavors, you can carry out these endeavors without any problems. The employer has no right to prohibit you from building up a passive income stream from the outset. In the worst case, it can also lead to a gap in your CV. This is very easy to explain. Numerous people start their own business and are not patient enough. Just when they are on the verge of a breakthrough, they throw in the towel. This is not a good solution, because it shows on your CV. If instead you make sure that you build a truly profitable company, then that is an aspect to highlight on your CV. At the end of the day, whether or not you can build a strong business and a strong passive income stream depends on your mindset. You need to make sure that you continue to develop and grow your income. Last but not least, some people are also afraid of the hard work involved in building up passive income. At this point, you should consider the following calculation. Is it really worth working for the same employer for 40 years to realize their goals? As a rule, no. But it is worth making sure that you achieve your own goals with your work. Countless people ignore this aspect, because at the end of the day, you will work less when building a passive income stream than you would if you were employed. Short-term or long-term commitment? This is a crucial question, as not both paths necessarily lead to success. Let's start with the short-term commitment. In this case, you only invest your manpower in building up a new income stream for a limited period of time. Whether this will lead to success remains fundamentally open. You should therefore not set yourself a limit when building up a passive income stream. You may experience a breakthrough after the first month, but the process may also take time. For example, you may not experience a breakthrough until after the fourth or sixth month. Accordingly, you should stay on the ball and refrain from short-term commitment. But what about the long-term commitment? At this point, Elon Musk should be taken as an example. These people always seem out of reach for the average Joe, but they are not. All you have to do is understand the path that successful people have taken. In Elon Musk's case, this life path is special. He started building up a wide variety of companies at a very early stage. After successfully selling his shares in PayPal, he turned his attention to Tesla. As Tesla and SpaceX did not bring the desired success, he almost went bankrupt. The only thing that saved him was an investment he made a few years ago. The results of his long-term commitment are particularly visible at SpaceX. The company is recording good sales figures, ensuring that Musk has a good source of income. Of course, it will depend on whether or not you can survive difficult times. Everyone encounters difficult times on their way to self-employment, which are initially difficult to overcome. Over time, however, you can also overcome these times and ensure that you grow. It is not enough to be intelligent. Intelligent people can build up a good income stream, but intelligence is not the deciding factor. What really matters is whether you can survive a dry spell. Do you really have what it takes to stick with a long-term commitment? You should ask yourself this question explicitly. This is the only way to find out whether you should really prepare yourself for the path of self-employment or not. It will by no means be an easy path, but it will be worth it in the end. You shouldn't give up after a month or a year, because you will learn many new things over time. After a year, you could therefore already have found the right adjustments. If you've enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel and activate the bell to give the channel added value and support my channel for free. Invest or speculate? Investing or speculating, what is the difference anyway? If you were to ask your friends, they would tell you that there is no difference. For many people, investing means speculating. They don't even realize that these are two different terms. Speculating is always short-term. This means that the development of a share price should only be predicted for a short period of time. You don't need to be very good at speculating to be successful. You simply need luck to speculate successfully. Nobody can predict market movements, even if there are some gurus on the internet who claim to do just that. So much can change in a short-term time frame. You don't know what could happen to a share price in the next moment. You also have to imagine that as a small investor, you are always on the short end of the stick. The big investors are usually the ones who have information about the various large corporations. Accordingly, they also make sure that they make the right investments. Among other things, this can lead to market manipulation. If you speculate as a small investor, you usually have a big problem. In such a case, you should only invest play money. Investing is a completely different matter. This approach is much more difficult to implement using technical resources. In addition, the approach is different with this approach. Investing means, for example, that you assess the price level of a particular share at the current time. How can you do that? Quite simply, there are numerous indicators that will tell you whether the price level of a stock is okay or not. You don't necessarily have to hit high or low points. You just need to be able to make an informed decision based on your information as to whether or not it is worth investing in a particular stock at a particular price level. While speculating is about short-term profits, investing is always about long-term profits. If you want to go into the stock market and expect to make a quick buck from it, you will have to bite the bullet for better or worse. After all, you can't make quick money. However, many people do not want to admit this. This brings us back to the mental attitude. You will only be able to make profits on the market if you really think long-term. A short-term mindset will lead to a rude awakening on the market, which you should avoid at all costs. Only very few people have built up a fortune through speculation. If you take a closer look at these people, you will notice another crucial aspect. These people have had a lot of luck, but you want to build up something that is independent of luck. You should invest rather than speculate. If you look at large companies such as Apple, for example, they have also invested over a long period of time. For most people, it seems as if these companies have grown to the size they are today overnight. However, this is not the case at all. Therefore, always make sure that you invest in your future investments. By far, the best investment is still in your own education. Your own education never goes to waste and forms a crucial income component in your portfolio. The practical guide to your first million. What does a practical guide to your first million look like? It's easier than you might think. First of all, you should make sure that you set aside around 10% of your monthly income. Why should you do this? Quite simply, if you don't set aside a monthly amount of your income, you could have a problem. Studies have shown that people spend their entire income if they don't set a limit. So make sure from the outset that you set aside a certain percentage of your income. Let's assume that you have a net salary of $2,000. Now set aside around 10% of your income. That's $200, or a total of $2,400 per year. You could now invest this money to set up your own business. The easiest way to do this is to set up your own business and reinvest the profits you make from this business. This allows you to take advantage of the compound interest effect several times over. However, many people try to invest their money directly, which can be detrimental. Avoid the disadvantages of investing too early and build up several income streams first. Once this is done, you can start investing in the stock market, and within 10 years you could have made your first million. To do this, however, you should also cultivate a frugal lifestyle. But what is frugalism anyway? What is frugalism? Frugalism is a special way of life. You simply no longer spend your money the way you would actually spend it. Quite the opposite. You save every dollar and invest it. Why do you do this? Frugalists have understood a certain concept in their lives. It is that money can only increase if you invest it. In order to achieve this without any problems, they have dedicated themselves to exactly one goal: maximizing their income through numerous investments. Naturally, a minimalist lifestyle is preferred. This is not necessarily for everyone, but it may not be a bad idea to resort to frugalism in the meantime. In order to explain the concept of frugalism, minimalism must therefore always be explained first. Minimalism is actually a very simple lifestyle. People who live a minimalist life do without all the benefits. They don't go on vacation as often and don't have the biggest house. The aim of this lifestyle is actually quite simple: to live with the simplest of means in order to save money and ultimately have fewer worries. It is enough for these people to have a simple apartment. Furthermore, they do not need large luxury furniture or the like. This aspect is crucial when it comes to the minimalist lifestyle. Frugalists take advantage of this way of life to put even more capital into their investments. The goal of most frugalists is quite simple. They dream of financial independence. They want to be able to retire at the age of 30 or 40 and then live off the money they have already put aside. Frugal is a technical term that simply means modest. Many people in Germany live this way. It is one way to break out of the hamster wheel. However, it should be borne in mind that not everything is so simple. You can break out of the hamster wheel, but you should be aware that it is a long road. Frugalists start minimizing their costs as early as possible in order to save even more money. Learn from frugalists and get your first million. This point is designed to help you find your way into investing. Learn from frugalists and put it into practice. You are probably wondering which well-known frugalists there are. In this regard, it can be said that there are numerous well-known frugalists. These include Warren Buffett, among others. Why? Quite simply, he not only recognized the compound interest effect very early on, but was also aware that he wanted to reinvest every cent. He thus formed his own little snowball. Over time, this snowball got rolling more and more, which ultimately led to it waking up quickly and growing exponentially. These are fundamental aspects that emerge from Buffett's investments. Another fundamental aspect is that he was able to reconcile it with his family. But not only that, he earned his first million and still didn't change his lifestyle. He knew that he could grow even more with his first million. That's why it can be all the better if you formulate your goals in concrete terms right from the start. This will ensure that you really have a foundation to work with. A frugalist would not allow the profits from investments to be distributed. This brings us back to the aspect of risk. The risk you take will pay off sooner or later. You should always keep this in mind. You should reinvest the profits to promote your growth. Now we come to another point with which you can give your investments that extra boost. This point is that you should always invest additional amounts. How can you do this? Quite simply. First of all, take a look at what you earn each month. Now you will have fixed costs every month. These fixed costs include rent on the one hand and perhaps car costs on the other. This brings us to the first point where you could save costs. If your rent is too high, for example, you could look for a smaller apartment. Ask yourself directly what added value this decision would bring you. The added value here is obvious. You can invest more money in the market by paying less rent in a smaller apartment. You are spending several $100s a month on your consumption, then you are doing something wrong. Here you can return to the question posed earlier. What will get you closer to your goal? In this case, too, you will quickly find the answer. You should reduce your costs. If you reduce your spending on consumption, which is definitely possible, you will again have some dollar that you can invest. As you can see, there is a lot you can take away from frugalism. One thing is certain. We live in a world today where consumerism is too prominent. We spend money on things that we don't actually need. This is the mistake that many people make. If you want to invest, you should start by looking at your personal accounts. You will be able to save a lot of money with just a few measures. And once you've managed to do that, you can get down to investing. The more capital you have available, the better it is for your investment. All you have to do is take the plunge and get a grip on your own spending. This was the 6th part of the series. How does money and our global economic cycle work? I hope you enjoyed the video, so I would be very happy if you give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. That way you won't miss any more videos from me and you'll be informed immediately when a new video is published. Thank you for watching the whole video, and see you soon.